Hello everyone, this is Lavneet Batra and sorry about the delay. We were having some technical issues, so now I'm here live and like we discussed, we would be talking everything around healthy eating during the lockdown. But before I begin, I'm just going to wait for everybody to join in. There was a lot of confusion around what time this live is going to start, so we're just going to wait for some time. And meanwhile, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask them here. We will be talking a lot about healthy food combinations, but also focusing not just on weight, but immunity, building strength, and how to improve your gut health, skin and hair. So feel free to ask any questions regarding your nutrition needs, and I'd be more than happy to answer. Hello. Hello everyone. Okay, so I hope firstly everybody is doing fine and safe at home. There is a lot of stress and anxiety around the lockdown and the situation we are in today. But as a nutritionist and also personally, I believe food can be such a great help and a true fuel during this time to build up on our health. So let's start with talking about food and immunity. So when it comes to immunity, a lot of times, especially these days, we are just looking for those antidotes to help us build immunity. But before we start, I would like to say that immunity is something that we cannot build overnight. It is something that you build over a period of time. And nutritionally, there are certain nutrients that are so crucial, so essential in giving you a healthy immune system. And I'm sure, thanks to the WhatsApps and social media, a lot of you are having the immunity boosters, be it vitamin C, amla, giloy. But what I would like to talk about today is nutrients that are usually ignored when it comes to good immunity, strong immunity. Starting with vitamin D. Vitamin D plays such an important role in our immune system, and most of us are deficient in vitamin D. Now, when it comes to any kind of infection, you want your body, the immunity in your body, to work in a very strict balance. So, vitamin D helps in building that balance. What do I mean by this balance is you don't want your immune system to be hyperactive, because that could lead to attacking your own body, an autoimmune condition which you don't want. So you need to make sure that you have enough vitamin D. Now, the fact that we are indoors, vitamin D is a sunshine vitamin. You might not be getting enough. And through food, it's very hard to get enough. So it is safe to have a mild supplement of 1000 IU of vitamin D every alternate day. Since many of you might not be getting your blood test done, you might not know what is your current status of vitamin D. Don't overdo the supplementation. Most supplements are 60,000 IU. So unless and until you knew that in the last 8 weeks you were deficient, don't have a very high dosage. You can have 1000 IU, that is safe every alternate day. Now, another nutrient that is very essential for strong immunity is zinc. Again, zinc helps in creating that balance of immunity in a way that it does not cause inflammation, and it is just attacking the foreign viral bacterial cells. Zinc you can find easily in a healthy diet. Foods that are rich in zinc would include dals, would include nuts and seeds such as cashews, almonds. So when you wake up, specially start your day with 7 almonds and 4 cashews that are soaked overnight, raw soaked. So try not to munch on salted roasted almonds and cashews, because they have phytic acid in them, the anti-nutrient, which needs to be leached out by soaking it overnight. So start your day with healthy nuts. You could also use raw peanuts. So you could do, in fact, nuts and seed rotation to get enough zinc. For peanuts, again, take 1 tablespoon raw and soak it in water instead of roasting it and having it. And in fact, you can use this as a very nourishing evening snack. Other nutrients which everybody is talking about, the antioxidants, would be vitamin A, C, E, that help in building strong immunity. For vitamin A, you can rely on seasonal fruits and vegetables. Now, a very easy way to remember foods rich in vitamin A would be the red spectrum. So, watermelon, papaya, even mango can be a good source of vitamin A. And it's a very strong antioxidant that can give you even a glowing skin. So, try to have at least once in a day a red color fruit or vegetable for vitamin A. Vitamin C, and I'm sure everybody is already having a good dose of vitamin C. You don't need to have the 1 gram vitamin C supplement daily. You can easily get vitamin C enough in your diet through amla. So take 2 fresh amla and grate it, make juice out of it, and have that in the morning. Or in fact, you can use lemon, bell peppers in your sabzis, or on your once the food is prepared, you can use lemon on it, and that will increase vitamin C intake. Now, vitamin C is a water soluble vitamin, so you want to make sure that you're not overdoing it, because overdoing vitamin C can lead to diarrhea, nausea, which is also very common during summer months. So as long as you're having a juice of 2 amlas in a day and 1 lemon in a day, you have enough vitamin C. Talking about vitamin E, which is again a very strong antioxidant, you can get that through almonds. So like I said earlier, that you can soak almonds, raw almonds, and overnight, and have it in the morning, about 7 to 10. Talking about immunity, I feel we are all talking about what to have, but it's also very important to understand what to avoid. So when you are trying to build strong immune system, what you should avoid is stressing too much. So stress does not help. Sleep is very, very important when it comes to building a strong immune system. So try to get 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Fix your sleep timings. Erratic sleep timings do not help. Third thing that you must avoid is sugar, excessive sugar. So these days, now that we are at home, it is the munching, and we are using food as a distraction or something that gives us comfort. It's very easy to get addicted to that sugar cycle. So it's important that you break it. And you can break it with foods that do give a sweet taste but do not have sugar. So it could be sauf, it could be cinnamon. You can make homemade kheer using fruits or natural sweeteners such as fig or dates or even raw honey. But it is very important to break that cycle of sugar addiction. Smoking. If you are a smoker, then this would be a good time to quit. Because all these 4 S's, stress, not enough sleep, sugar, smoking, would lead to inflammation, which you don't need when you want your immune system to work properly. Now, immune system is also interlinked to our gut health. So if your gut health is compromised, your immune system will not be up to date. So make sure that you're having probiotics. So either you can start your day, your breakfast, with a natural probiotic, that is yogurt. Or if you think that your gut health currently is very compromised, you're having IBS related symptoms, you can also go for a supplement such as VSL3. You can have it on waking up. Okay, so many people are asking about how to build strength during this time. So when we talk about strength, building strength is in fact one of the later stages of healthy eating, I will just talk a little bit about how to start when you are trying to build strength. So, for every individual, it is very important to understand where they are currently in their fitness journey personally. So, in order to understand that, start with journaling what you're eating. And especially these days, because everybody is having erratic eating times, sleep times. So, start journaling, at least start with 3 days. So, take last 3 days and write down the time you were sleeping, the time you were waking up, and the time you were eating every meal, and what were you eating, because that will give you a great reflection on where do you currently stand. Without writing it down, it is really hard to analyze. So first start with that. Before strengthening, there are two important stages that you need to consider. First is detox. Well, I'm not a big fan of the word detox. What detox mean for me as a nutritionist, and just biologically talking, is giving your body rest, which is so important, especially today when the major enemies that we are fighting are stress and inflammation. So unless your body has low levels of inflammation, you cannot move forward. And talking about detox and how to cut inflammation, rest. Foods that are easy to digest, foods that help in supporting your liver health, your gut health, your kidneys, and just help you relax. And this goes hand in hand with practices that are de-stressing, such as less screen time, breathing exercises, again, sleeping on time. So you cannot just isolate food as in food, what type of food you're eating, but your sleep and your activity level. So first step is detox, and after 7 days of following a plan which has given your body rest, a simple example of this would be a diet that is rich in water-rich foods. So fruits and vegetables, probiotics like yogurt. In Indian traditional diet, a very easy to digest combination is khichdi. So what you could do is start your day with a teaspoon of coconut oil, then move on to nuts, fruits, yogurt, khichdi, and at night again a soup and khichdi. You can do this for a week, and you'll see that during this time you're feeling more tired, you're feeling more sleepy, or you might even have a cough, cold, but that's okay. That's your body telling you that it's getting rid of toxins. And after you have had this detox, the second stage is balance. That is the stage of fortification. So in this stage, and I will be sharing a balanced eating plan later after this webinar with you, so that it's a 7-day plan which is very easy to follow with ingredients that are available during the lockdown. So balance means that knowing your nutritional needs and eating as per those needs, while distributing it as per your sleep timings, your appetite, and your activity level. These two things go hand in hand and are equally important. I see many people, they do understand their nutritional needs, but their distribution is not right. That can again be a big barrier in gaining strength. So after a week of balance, you get on to strength building. And strength building can never happen just by food alone. So like I talked about, detox can never happen just by food alone. You need to de-stress, you need to sleep well. When you're building strength, you need to work out. You just cannot build the right body composition through food. It is 60% food and 40% your workout. So you need to build a good workout regime in work 3. And when I talk about workout, again, there are 4 aspects to it, and try to build each one of these aspects. One would be your endurance training, second would be your strength training, third would be your balance building, and fourth would be flexibility. So you have to mix up your workout in a way that you are focusing on each one of these. And there's no better time than now to just experiment and go outside your comfort zone, because I see many people, like I'm a runner, so I would any day prefer running over any other workout. But it's always important to build all 4 basic principles of fitness to gain strength. When we talk about strength, there are many questions around proteins. a lot of people tend to overdo proteins when it comes to muscle building, strength building, building lean body mass. Well, proteins are the most essential part of strength building. You cannot ignore proteins, but you need to understand that why carbs and fat are also important. Now, carbs, let's talk about protein actually first. You need, when you are working out, you need somewhere between 80 to 100 grams of protein in a day. It could vary from person to person depending on your personalized biometric details. Now, if you don't have enough carbs, then your protein is not getting utilized in muscle building. So carb has what we call as protein sparing effect. So you need to make sure that when you are eating your protein, either you can rely on a plant-based protein which already has a good ratio of 2:1, or you can make sure when you're having a complex protein such as paneer, egg, chicken, you pair it with a healthy carb so that it is well utilized. And we'll talk more in detail about these plans, but make sure that you're not ignoring even the fats. Why fats are important? Like I said, you cannot build on strength if your gut health is compromised, and healthy gut requires healthy fats. Now, coming back to the battle we are fighting on inflammation, many of us, especially today, we are going to easy eating options that are coming in a packet, even though it's convenient, but it comes with a cost. So most of these products will have vegetable oils, refined vegetable oils, or palm oil, and that is one of the major ingredients that is adding to inflammation in our body. And to cut down on that effect, it is important to fortify with a very healthy fat, which we know as omega-3. So omega-3 in Indian diet comes from very few sources. And talking about omega-3, it comes in 3 different types: ALA, EPA, DHA. The main EPA, DHA, it's so hard to get through a vegetarian diet, but there is one Indian superfood that will help in building strength. Not just because it is good for gut health, but it's also a good source of omega-3. And that is ghee. Ghee made from cow milk, A2 cow milk. It's a natural source of DHA, omega-3. So if you are trying to build strength, you make sure that you're having starting from 1 teaspoon of ghee. You can build it up to 3 teaspoons, so 1 teaspoon every meal. But make sure you do have the good fat from ghee. Now, for building strength, like I said, it has to go hand in hand with your workout, and you don't need to overdo the supplement bit. It is so easy to get this protein through diet. So if I had to talk about a vegetarian diet, if you are able to eat about 100 to 150 grams of paneer, 3 servings of either dal or chana or rajma, 3 to 4 servings of whole grains, 2 servings of pseudo cereals such as amaranth or quinoa or even millets for that matter, a good serving of vegetables that are good in protein such as peas. Pea protein can be very helpful in building strength, and 2 servings of nuts and seeds. You will have enough protein for building strength. Not just protein, the good thing is that when protein is coming from nature, it is coming with minerals such as magnesium, zinc, your vitamin A, C, E, which helps in building overall strength, not just isolated form of any protein. So I hope I could answer that question on how to build strength. Any other questions? Okay. Let's talk about gut health. How to build healthy gut. Okay. So let's get on to talking about healthy gut. When it comes to your gut health, I feel unfortunately we live in an environment which is full of toxins not just through our food, but through the environment. Luckily, right now, the only good thing about this lockdown is that our environment pollutants are getting lower down. So we are at least safe there. But in order to take care of your gut, you have to build an alkaline environment. That is so important. And in fact, it's very easy to do that. Let's start with the morning routine. For an alkaline morning routine, you can either start your day with a liter of water, which is alkaline. So for an alkaline water, you don't need any fancy machine. In fact, you can do it very easily at home. Either take copper vessel or silver vessel, which is nicely cleaned, and you put water in it for 12 hours. And in 12 hours, that water becomes alkaline in nature. So as soon as you wake up, you start your day with 1 liter of alkaline water. Now, depending on your symptoms, because gut health usually comes with different symptoms. So for some people, it's excessive bloating. For some people, it is acidity. For some people, it's constipation. For some people, it's a bout of IBS with loose motions and constipation. So we'll just cover different aspects of this and go about the morning routines. For somebody who has major acidity problem in the morning, you can start after having your alkaline water, you can start with coconut oil. So take 1 teaspoon of coconut oil and mix it in warm water and have that first thing after the alkaline water. And this would be followed by a fruit. Now, why are we doing this? The MCT in coconut oil act as a direct fuel for your gut, for even the cells of your small intestine, and they help in activating them. Fruit is a natural probiotic. It's a natural prebiotic which acts as a food for the good bacteria in your colon. And this will be followed by a probiotic, which could be either a yogurt. If you do feel you're lactose intolerant because of your gut issues, then you can go for a supplement, which is VSL3, which can be a great probiotic for your gut. But start your routine with this. Coconut oil followed by a prebiotic, that is a fruit. Especially if you have a loose stomach, you can start with banana. That will really help. Followed by a probiotic. Now, for your breakfast, try to go for options that are fermented. It could be idli with coconut chutney. You can ferment moong dal and make a chila out of it in ghee. Talking about ghee, a lot of people have this fear around having ghee or fats, coconut oil. But when it comes to your gut health, you need fats that do not stress your liver. So those are the fats that have medium chain triglycerides, and coconut oil and ghee for that reason are the safest oils. So focus on these two when you're trying to build a healthier gut, because it doesn't stress, it doesn't require emulsifying from bile acids. So the breakfast can be prepared in ghee, and again, like we talked about in detox, you can focus on your main meals that are made with rice. So it could be curd rice or vegetable khichdi for lunch and dinner. But you have to focus on eating enough seasonal fruits. Fruits are naturally rich in enzymes, active enzymes that activate the enzymatic activity in our digestive system. So make sure when you're trying to plan your day, you're having 2 main meals. So that could be either breakfast or lunch or dinner, depending on your appetite. Like I said earlier, food type is one thing, and distribution is equally important based on 3 factors: your sleep, your appetite, and your own physical activity. So depending on when you are most hungry, you distribute your food, but the other 2 meals should be focused on fruits, fresh fruits. They are water rich and they are high in enzymes that help in digestive activity. Now, this will really help with acidity. Coming to constipation. Many of us, especially these days, because we are not moving a lot, the sedentary lifestyle, and even our erratic sleep, when your sleep timing is shifted, it leads to constipation. So try to be active. Try to move around the house, do household activities. Don't be seated for more than 30 minutes on your seat. It does interfere with your digestion. Try to fix your sleep timings. That's very, very important, even when you're trying to combat constipation. Now, many people, it's very easy to go to laxative as your, quick fix. But that doesn't really solve the problem. You have to activate your own digestive system to clear your bowels at same time every single day. You should be able to clear your stomach once in a day at the same time, and preferably in the morning as soon as you wake up. It's so important for your overall health, be it your immunity, be it your mental health. Everything goes back to how healthy your gut is. So please don't take this lightly, and I'll just go over the like a routine for relieving constipation. So after your alkaline water, you start your day with coriander seeds water and wheatgrass powder. So if you don't have wheatgrass powder, what you could do is you can just use jeera, sauf and ajwain. So for coriander seed water, you will take 1 teaspoon of coriander seeds, you'll soak it overnight and strain it and just have the water in the morning. If you have wheatgrass, then have 1 teaspoon of wheatgrass powder mixed in water after your coriander seed water. If you don't have access to wheatgrass right now, use equal quantities of ajwain, sauf and jeera. Boil it in water and then have that water. Now this will be followed by a mix of nuts and seeds. Start with chia or sabza seeds, again soaked overnight, and almonds, walnuts and a fig. Fig here is very important because it gives the right kind of fiber to give mobility to your stool. So you just don't need insoluble fiber, you need a mix of soluble and insoluble that can help in giving you bowel movements. So start with fig in the morning. Now your breakfast can be either dalia, upma with yogurt. A lot of times what I see as a big mistake, what people do when it comes to their gut health is in order to cut down on calories, they cut down on carb at night. So many a times when you have carb-free dinners, especially if you're having just chicken and fish for dinner with a salad without a lot of fat, you might have constipation next morning. So try not to do that. Even if you have just one carb serving, it could be just one roti, which is just 15 grams of carbs, or one katori of rice, and add some ghee or some either good fat through avocado or coconut oil. That will really help in relieving constipation. Now for constipation, you can follow a bedtime routine that really helps. Take 1 teaspoon of triphala and boil it in water. Give it 2-3 boils and have this water warm. If you are having psyllium husk, which is isabgol, make sure that for every 1 spoon of psyllium husk, you're having at least 400 ml of water. If you don't have enough water with psyllium husk, it can actually make the problem even worse. So you can, after your dinner, after an hour, you can have psyllium husk with 1 teaspoon with 400 ml of water, or you can have triphala boiled in water. Triphala has, one of the ingredients in triphala is amla, so it also helps in your immunity, better skin and hair, so you can try either or. Okay, let's see what other questions. Is milk good for children with Horlicks? Okay, I know there's a lot of controversy around drinking milk. It really depends on the source of milk, number one. Try to source your milk from an Indian cow which gives A2 milk, and that could be Gir, Sahiwal. So right now the availability is definitely limited, but once we are out of this lockdown, always prefer having A2 milk for your kids. There's nothing wrong as long as they're not allergic or intolerant to milk, but definitely not with Horlicks. It just adds up too much sugar in your child's diet. What I would suggest is make a mix with the coconut powder, almond flour. So you can take almonds, soak it, grind it, use tender coconut and a fig or a date for sweetening, and use that instead of using Horlicks for milk, because it does add up to a lot of sugar. there any problem? Okay, tips on mental health, foods that can help with de-stressing. Foods definitely can help with de-stressing. This is the time we all can use more happy hormones, and there are certain foods that can help in building these. So like I've been saying since the starting of my session, that food doesn't work in isolation. It has to be a holistic approach. It's about what you eat, it's about what you avoid, your exercise routine, your sleep, especially when you're trying to fight stress. Your sleep definitely is very important. So there are certain foods that help in building happy hormones. So one category is foods that are very spicy. So if you are someone who is inclined towards eating spicy food, this would be a good time to use green chilies. Spicy food, even through say black pepper, cloves, just using a lot of spices help in building happy hormones. For building serotonin, you need tryptophan rich foods, so yogurt, banana, whole grains such as oats. So especially around evening time, you can make either a banana smoothie, or you can have oats porridge, or overnight you can soak the oats and have oats even for your dinner, including rice, which is rich in lysine. Rice and dal combination helps in building serotonin. Now there are certain adaptogens that help in sleeping well, and one of the most popular ones from our traditional Indian diet is ashwagandha. So you can utilize that, and you can have ashwagandha powder, half a teaspoon, either with milk. If you don't like drinking milk, or if you're lactose intolerant, you can have it with almonds, but it works best with a fat medium. So try to have it either with almonds, or with coconut oil, or with milk, and that will help in relieving stress. There are certain nutrients as well that really help, and that would be again vitamin D. I think vitamin D is such an important nutrient at this time. It helps with immunity, it helps with better gut health, it helps with strengthening, it helps with mental health. We mostly just think of vitamin D as something which helps with stronger bones, but it is definitely beyond that. And especially if you have hormonal imbalance, vitamin D is something that you need to get checked, and if you are deficient, make sure you have enough of it. Magnesium is one nutrient that helps in relaxing, and banana is a natural source of magnesium. You could also have cashews, raw soaked cashews, and that helps in building enough magnesium. Chickpeas, white chana are rich in magnesium. So if you are feeling anxious and very stressed, try to include banana, yogurt, chickpeas, ashwagandha, almonds in your diet, and this will help you nutritionally in fighting stress. But also, please do try to fix your sleep timings. Do not overdo the social media screen time. Limit it to 3 hours maximum in a day, not more than that. And do deep breathing exercises in the morning. That really helps. Deep breathing really helps with relieving stress. Happy hormones. What food? Okay, foods for healthy skin and hair during lockdown. So I think we have covered a lot of foods that already do help with skin and hair, but let's go about it nutritionally. So for good skin, vitamin A, C, E are key, the antioxidant that we talked about. For good hair, you need enough zinc, and you need enough biotin. For zinc, focus on eating dals. Pumpkin seeds and sunflower seeds are two seeds that are very rich in zinc. Again, white chana is something that is rich in zinc. You can include these three. And biotin. Biotin, you must have gobi for having enough biotin. It's present in naturally in greens as well, but gobi is one vegetable that is abundant in biotin. Also, if you eat eggs, then having one whole egg in a day is something that can really help with hair regrowth. Hair, if you're protein deficient, you will be losing hair more. So make sure you're having enough protein. If you're not working out, that window would be about 60 to 80 grams per day. And like I have already explained, it's not difficult to get it even without a supplement. Okay, any other questions? What oil should be used in daily cooking? Avoid using refined vegetable oils. Like I said, they do add on to the inflammation. Now, our oils are made up of different fatty acids, polyunsaturated fatty acid, monounsaturated fatty acids, saturated fatty acids. There are trans fats that are generated that are the most harmful. So, what science is saying now that omega-6, which is an inflammatory fatty acid, you need to restrict oils that increase the level of omega-6 in our diet. Instead, you have to have oils that increase omega-3 in our diet. So all refined vegetable oil increase the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. That's why you need to switch back to nuts and seeds for your oils. So it could be ghee made from cow milk, it could be coconut oil, mustard oil, peanut oil, but it has to be an oil that is cold pressed, not very processed, not refined, and comes from nuts and seeds. And try to use 3 different oils in a day, because no one oil is complete. So it's always good to use 3 different oils, one oil for different preparation. So what I usually do is, if there is something that requires excessive heating, you need to use an oil with high smoke point, again ghee. Or if you are doing light sauteing, or you could use peanut oil, mustard oil. Only for salads, use a oil with low smoke point. That could be extra virgin olive oil. If you are using olive oil, then you must use only the virgin, extra virgin variety. But you cannot cook it, so you can only use it for salad preparations. Please suggest some health supplements to compensate deficiency, if any. When it comes to using supplements during this time, especially because we are under a lockdown and the availability of food is limited, definitely you might need supplements. The only thing is, if you haven't had any recent blood tests done, you need to be sure that you're not overdoing it, because I feel today we tend to overdo things more than we are deficient, and that is not good. So I feel before you get on to supplements, make sure there are 2 food groups that are abundant source of vitamins and minerals. Especially talking about minerals, if you're having 3 servings of lentil group, be it your dal, chana, rajma, and 2 servings of different nuts and seeds. So you can mix between almonds, walnuts, cashews. These all have to be soaked, like I said, because of the phytic acid that is present. Or if you're having flax seeds, chia seeds, so make sure you're having 2 servings of nuts and seeds, 3 servings of lentils to begin with, and that will give you enough mineral family, be it zinc, magnesium, your iron, calcium. What you could also do is rely on pseudo cereals such as quinoa, amaranth, your millets for more iron supply. For vitamins, fruits and vegetables of different colors, and in Indian diet it is so easy to aim for different colors of fruits and vegetables in a day. So if you start your day with a banana, and then you're making sure you're using onion and garlic and tomato in a sabzi, there you go, you have 4 different colors, and you can just use a green sabzi. It could be coriander, mint chutney on the side, and you have enough antioxidants, and that does give you a lot of vitamin A and C that you need. I feel balance in diet is the best foundation to go for fortification. The supplements that you need to focus on during this time would be omega-3, because that is so hard to get through just diet, especially if you are scared of eating ghee, because it is a healthy fat. So you could go for a omega-3 supplementation, that is EPA DHA 1000 milligrams. Again, it has to be really correlated with your blood work before getting on to any supplement, and your symptoms, if you have hair fall or what kind of symptoms you're going through. So don't have supplementation without proper guidance. That's very important. Please suggest foods to be avoided in hypothyroidism. Okay, when we talk about hypothyroidism, let's talk about foods that do help. Nutritionally, you need enough copper and iodine. These are very two important minerals when you're trying to activate your thyroid gland. Dairy is one of the easiest way you can get iodine. Yogurt, paneer. You can also have eggs in the morning. That gives you enough iodine. Copper, so what you can do is start your day with 1 teaspoon coconut oil, 1 teaspoon sabza seeds that are soaked overnight, and 5 to 6 raw cashews soaked overnight for copper activation in the body. And then you get on to having your iodine rich food either through yogurt, paneer or egg in the breakfast, and you can pair it with a whole grain. Now in hypothyroidism, you have to be very careful of your caffeine intake. If you are a coffee lover, try not to overdo on coffee. So the caffeine intake is restricted to 100 milligrams a day, which means you can have one tea. Actually one tea has about 50 milligrams, but I would still try to keep it as low as possible. So maximum one tea and just half a cup of coffee or 2 teas, but caffeine doesn't help when you are trying to fix your thyroid health. Now, if you are trying to activate your thyroid, make sure you're not skipping your carbs, especially for dinner. There was a recent study that was published that having good carbs from whole grains, be it rice, be it dalia, be it upma, idli, helps with fighting hypothyroidism. So you can focus again on a healthy combination of paneer and roti or curd rice for dinner, and that also helps. So 2 main things: caffeine, try to avoid coffee as much as you can, maximum 2 teas in a day, and don't skip carb for dinner, and follow the morning routine. That really helps. Also, there are certain foods that restrict iodine absorption in the body, and that would come from soy family, certain vegetables when eaten raw, such as gobi, broccoli. But if you cook these vegetables and you chew on them really well, you can have those vegetables. The idea is to have enough iodine rich foods in the diet. And for soy products, avoid having soy milk. If you are having tofu or soy nutri-nuggets, then you can restrict it to maximum twice a week. That is safe consumption. And make sure you're not going on very extreme diets that are high protein or high fat. Sprouts, how to eat sprouts. Okay, so for sprouts, what you could do is, once the sprouts are made, you don't need to boil it, but you can steam it. Boiling in very high temperature or cooking food anytime during the day at very high temperature kills the nutrition of it. So you can steam it, slow cook it, and that is much better, especially if you feel bloated very easily. Avoid having raw sprouts. Food combinations, good and bad food combinations. I think we can have a complete whole live session on this. But I will talk about few bad food combinations. Having cereal and fruit, I think that's where most people go wrong. And a lot of times when we are trying to fight sugar cravings, a lot of people have big bowl of fruit right after their meal. That's not good. That's a very bad combination. Why? Because it really increases the glycemic load. So if you fruit is a very healthy thing to have, don't take me wrong, but you have to have it empty stomach. So start your day with the fruit, or make sure there's a gap of 2 to 3 hours between your meal and fruit, but don't combine your main meal with fruit. It's not good. It's a bad combination. Another bad combination, I would say, is mixing too many grains in one meal. mixing too many proteins in one meal. Now, key to healthy fortified diet is variety. You should have enough different foods throughout the day, but not in one given meal. That interferes with digestion, and you don't want that. So mixing too much food is not good in one meal. So try to keep it simple. If good combinations would be like how we eat in an Indian traditional way: dal chawal, dahi sabzi roti, egg and rice, fish and rice. But mixing fish, egg, roti, chawal is not a good combination. What we eat can increase our immunity during lockdown. I think we did talk about immunity nutritionally. What we did not talk about was maybe few antidotes that can help during this time, so we can go over that. In fact, you can make this warm fluids. Everybody is suggesting that, for building just hydration any which ways is good for immunity. But during this time, it's important to have warm fluids, and you can make this tea at home. So take a glass of water, put 2-3 black pepper corns, cinnamon stick, ginger, star anise, chokhe ka phool, 1 or 2 pieces. If you have tulsi leaves, then use 3-4 tulsi leaves and boil it. Give it 2-3 boils and have this in the morning, empty stomach, or in the evening, empty stomach. Again, not very close to the meal. What you can also do is have turmeric, raw turmeric with black pepper and honey, or raw turmeric with black pepper and coconut oil. I see a lot of people having turmeric water. Turmeric, curcumin in turmeric again works better in a fat medium, so don't have it in water. It's always better to have it in fat medium. So haldi wala doodh, turmeric with coconut oil and black pepper is much better than having it in water. If you do have breathing problems, or you have difficulty in breathing, or you have asthma, history of asthma, then you can have amla. So instead of doing only 2, you do 3 to 4 amla and have 50 ml of amla juice mixed with 10 ml of ginger juice, and have this on waking up, and this will help with better lung health. For smokers, if you have been smoking, then sugarcane is a superfood for you during this time. It's hard to get, but if you can get sugarcane juice, then start your day with 100 ml of sugarcane juice. That will really help in detoxification of lungs. How to reduce bloating. Bloating is something, is a symptom of a bigger problem. So you must understand why you're feeling bloated. But SOS, what really helps with bloating is ajwain. So you can take, don't do this very close to a meal. Wait for half an hour after finishing your meal. Take 1 teaspoon of ajwain and boil it in water. You can add 1 teaspoon of gur to this and have this warm. Or start your day with ajwain and gur ka kada, and that helps with bloating. But you must understand what is the cause for bloating. There could be different reasons for different people. How to raise immunity for a 2 to 3-year-old. For toddlers, the best way to ensure they have good immunity is breastfeeding during their infancy. So it is a well-known fact that kids who are breastfed have better immunity. But if you have lost that window, then you have to make sure that your child is having enough good fats. I think many parents ignore this, and many parents don't know this, but till 5 years of age, a child's fat requirement is as good as an adult. So their calories from fat are much higher as opposed to an adult. So you have to make sure you're giving them enough of good fat. Now you have to be careful that the child is not allergic to any nuts and seeds, and if there is no allergy, then you must give at least 4 servings of good fat. So this could be in form of ghee. With every meal, give them ghee. As soon as they wake up, you must give them either almonds, cashews or walnuts, and try to give them again in the evening either peanuts or flax seeds, or a healthy fat from coconut or avocado, which is a different family, but it does help in building immunity. But key is focusing on healthy fats. And you can start with amla, which is totally safe for a child between ages 2 to 3. what are the food items one should avoid when having cough? If you're having cough, then you should avoid yogurt, especially at night. You should avoid anything that can aggravate the cough, so sour tasting foods. But what does help is mulethi. So you can take a piece of mulethi about 2 to 3 inch big and boil it in water and add some soft fennel to it and black pepper to it, and have mulethi ka kahda 2 to 3 times in a day, and that really helps with relieving the cough. Okay, let's take 2 more questions. Foods for lowering sugar levels. For lowering your sugar levels, there are certain foods, superfoods that help instantly. But what matters a lot is food combinations, especially for diabetics. Why? Because you want stable sugar levels. You don't want very high or very low sugar levels. So fixing your meal timings is very essential. You want to focus on foods that give you a sustained amount of energy, sustained energy through hours. Something that spikes your energy and drops your energy is not a good thing. So these would be dals. So if you're having for every meal, if you're picking a superfood, I would say make sure you're having enough of lentils. And when it comes to spices, coriander seeds and cinnamon are 2 spices that really help in stabilizing sugar levels. But you do have to correlate it with your blood pressure. So if you have very high blood pressure, then you cannot rely on cinnamon. You should move over to coriander seeds water. If the blood pressure is not a problem, then cinnamon in milk really helps in controlling your blood sugar levels. How much quantity of fat should we take? The quantity of fat that you need to take depends on many factors, but I would say this, that about 30% of your calories should come from fat. Now, fat in our diet can come through visible and invisible sources. Now, visible sources of fat are the cooking oil that we use. But there are many invisible sources of fat too. The nuts and seeds, paneer that we eat, dairy that we have, certain meats that are rich in fat. But talking about the visible sources, which people can see easily, I would say if you're having about 4 teaspoons of fat in a day, so for every sabzi, if it is made in regular tadka, that's good enough. About 20 grams of fat in a day. But like I said, use different oils for different preparation because you need a good profile of fatty acids. Kindly suggest the food for kids between age 9 to 10 years. So we will be sharing a diet chart, a balanced eating diet chart after this webinar. So you can check out that link, and it specifically mentions day-wise different foods that can be had for a balanced eating. One last question. Okay, hydration during summers. Hydration is often for most people it's about drinking water, but to maintain good hydration level is so important for good health. Why? Because most of our body is made up of water. So if we don't have a good hydration balance, so to say, we don't feel up to it, we don't feel energetic. So it's so important to maintain a good balance of hydration, and it goes beyond just drinking water. First, you must know how well hydrated you are, and to check this, check the color of your urine. It shouldn't be too dark, it shouldn't be even clear, it should be light yellow. So if it is clear, that means you're overhydrated and you need more electrolytes. A lot of people complain that, if they start drinking water, they're always just running to the restroom and they don't feel hydrated. They're still feeling thirsty. So start your day with water. That's very important. So start with 1 liter of water as soon as you wake up, and have this water while you're seated. Don't gulp down on this water. Just pace yourself and take 10 to 15 minutes in finishing this water. That's the best time that the water is absorbed in your system. Now, throughout the day, every 2 hours, try to have a cup of water. Now, if you still think that you're not feeling hydrated, then you might want to add a little bit of carbohydrates and electrolytes, and that can be easily done by Indian super drink, which is Shikanji. It is the best form of hydrator energy drink you can have during summers. It gives you potassium, sodium, that perfect carb combination which is part of many of these Gatorades and sports drink. So you take a glass of water, put 1 spoon of raw honey, not more than that, 1 lemon, pink salt, jeera, and your black pepper, and have this twice in a day, and this will help in delaying the gastric emptying of the water. So that means that your colon will be able to absorb this water rather than that water just passing through your system. And then again, make sure that you are checking the color of your urine to check your hydration levels. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope I was able to answer your questions. If you have more questions about eating right and nutrition during lockdown, feel free to message us. We would be more than happy to answer it. Take care and stay safe. Stay home. Bye.